audio. Can you check the mic, please?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
This is
I
Stacia.
can.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go for it and start right now, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 73rd episode of Concerned Dabs podcast. I'm your host, Katie M. Kane. Our guest tonight, ladies and gentlemen, her Indian name is Takes Care of Water. Her given name is Stacia Morfin. She is a citizen of the Nimipu Nation and owner of Nez Perce Tourism, LLC, which is a kick-ass tour agency located in the heart of Nimipu country. She also has a bachelor's degree in business administration and an associate in hospitality management from LCSE, and she's interested in organizational methods in marketing, sales, and logistical processes. She is my friend. She's from the Reds. She is super successful. She's taken an L and bounced back. My homegirl, Stacia Morfin, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, that was the most superb intro I've ever experienced. I can just feel the excitement in the atmosphere. It feels good to be here with you, Kane. I haven't seen you for a minute. I'm so glad you moved closer to home. I mean, being home on our Nimipu homelands is where it's at. And, you know, we're all connected through these great river systems from the Pacific Ocean, the Columbia, the Snake, the Clearwater, and so many streams within them. But, you know, I probably feel you too when you were gone and living maybe towards Portland. Like, was the Columbia River calling you? Did you find yourself there and wanted to just feel that peace and that connection to our riverways and our landscapes?
Yeah, no doubt, man. Jordy moved out there to Cascade Locks when I was in Portland, so I was able to go check out a bro who's from home who stayed there too. But
oh, good. I love it. You know, it's all about having that inspiration and that connection, that direct connection to our ancestors. And it just feels so good to be here today with you guys. This is such a great, you know, entertainment production company that I'm glad to be a part of. So thank you for having me as your guest today.
no doubt, girl, no doubt. I'm impressed with the office. That's another thing, ladies and gentlemen. If you can see it in the video, this is just one corner of the office behind her. There's lots of cool shit going on in here, lots of artwork. Down here at the, what is it, Newberry Square?
Yep, Newberry Square on beautiful downtown Lewiston.
Yeah, so if you guys ever slide through the 208, come check out Nez Perce Tourism in Newberry Square, downtown Lewiston. It's going to be a lot better as time goes by, I'm sure. If you're an artist too, please holler at the girl. I'm sure she could consign some stuff.
Yep, if you're, and what I typically like to do is if you're Nimipu, Nez Perce, as a descendant of another nation, if you're a local artist, I'm all about promoting you. And so if you have artwork, beadwork, photography, you know, whatever that might be in the art medium that you have, hit me up. And what I'll do is I'll just buy it outright from you wholesale. The last thing I want to do is, you know, host your things in my establishment without paying you first. And so I appreciate the work that we all do as Native and non-Native people, and so we can keep working together. But, you know, it's all about the grassroots. And it's kind of exciting because this is my first public announcement of letting folks know that Nez Perce Tourism, LLC, my travel agency, has now expanded, and we're doing business as Nez Perce Traditions. And so it'll be a local gift shop down here in the shopping district. But there's a huge demand for authenticity, and you guys, that's what we are. So I'm excited to announce that. I haven't done any marketing and promotions yet. This is literally the third day in the building, and so we're messing things up in a good way. So it feels good to be here with you all. Come check us out anytime. We'll be here.
Yeah, and that word too, authenticity. There is a lot of people fronting, a lot of native print everything everywhere. You know what I mean? So it's good to know that it came from someone who is indigenous, who created that product or that piece of art. So
yeah, so when I started my company, Nez Perce Tourism LLC, I did 2 years of strict market research, and I did research of the domestic and international travelers that we have coming through our region, the Pacific Northwest. And I quickly realized through this market analysis that a lot of people are looking for that connection to the indigenous people of the land they're visiting. And, you know, there was 95%, 2 years ago, 95% of folks in the Lewis and Clark Valley who were promoting Nez Perce, Lewis and Clark among the Nez Perce, those type of scenarios and experiences, and not one of them was Nez Perce tribally owned from our tribe or from a tribal entrepreneur as myself. And so I saw a big, huge opportunity to start a tourism agency, and that's exactly it. The people are looking for that relationship with the authentic people, and we've been here for centuries. The ecological knowledge and relationship and the information that we hold as Native people is what people are looking for. And there's a big psychology to it. We talk about lack of identity within our nations and things like that, and I can attest to that for several reasons. I was on that same path too, and we'll get into that a little bit later about just finding your lifeways and learning to love yourself. But yeah, I'm a heavy promoter of cultural tourism. So if you are indigenous and you live near or around your homeland, it is something that I would like you to consider. We do some work with the Coeur d'Alene tribe, and we're trying to put some other folks on in some neighboring tribes of the Plateau Nation, but I would love to continue working with you guys. I know that some people's families own allotments, own land that aren't being utilized, and I mean, we could easily tap into Airbnb opportunities for small cabins or a teepee stay or whatnot. I mean, it might sound crazy, but people are looking for these type of experiences, and I would love to start working with other entrepreneurs who have the capabilities, as we all do as indigenous people, to be business owners, to be successful. I mean, because let's face it, Nimipu, there wasn't a Dentillion shell, a buffalo robe that didn't cross our community without us knowing or without us approving. So literally, if you're a Nimipu specifically, you have that in your DNA to be an entrepreneur, to trade, to barter, to be a business person. It's already in you. So just helping you gain those tools and that inspiration and kind of the confidence to be able to fulfill what your destiny is. Maybe it's not tourism. Maybe it's something else that you just feel like there's a seed growing in the pit of your stomach, or something that has been on your heart. I want to encourage you to keep looking into it. Go to your small business center of your area. Go to the Nimipu Fund, the IDRS Acorn Project. Those are great, no cost to you resources that you can use that helped me be where I'm at today. But none of this would be possible without some of the hardships that I have faced through my past. And so Kate and I, we were just talking about...
I man, let me interrupt. I showed up early to set up. We went to go grab something to drink before we started, and Stacia has had some hardships in her life too that I didn't know if it was okay to ask about on the show. So before the show, I said, "Hey man, can I ask about that?" And she said, "Yeah, no doubt, it's all good." So can I ask Stacia about the time that you spent down before you came up?
Yeah. Well, geez, I remember when we grew up together. We kind of have been around each other for a while. Yeah. And if you are unfamiliar what life is on the reservation, there is a very oppressed spirit that you can easily fall into if you choose to. And a big part of that is just low self-esteem. It starts out with maybe dabbling with maybe drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, whatnot. But as I started to get older, I wanted to be and look and feel older than I really was, and that in itself has created a lot of obstacles as far as being a young Native American woman, wanting the approval from man, and wanting to look and feel older. I mean, I remember going clubbing when I was way too small. And I have a stepdaughter now, and I look at her, and I was her age, and doing the things that I was doing was extremely inappropriate. And I'm just so thankful that we've raised, as multiple families raising this young woman, we raised her to be very conservative and to respect herself, and that's not something that I was ever taught. As time progressed, I just continued down the road of drugs and alcoholism. But the thing is that I was always really smart. School came extremely easy to me. Developing relationships with tribal, non-tribal people has always been a very natural feeling thing that I was able to accomplish. And I didn't see that those abilities were very far and few in between. And so as I went to college in Coeur d'Alene, I connected with, people who were in the game, and I started seeing that there were opportunities to make money. So I slowly stopped going to class, started making money on the side, started getting more into drugs. And eventually I got caught up, and I got a federal case, and I fought it and fought it and fought it and fought it to the last minute, and finally I just surrendered. I looked in the audience during my trial, and I realized, oh my goodness, it was full of people who supported me. My family, my friends, my teachers, my coaches. I mean, all of these, the place was packed. And at that moment, I just realized, oh my goodness, what am I doing? And I had the opportunity to make an appeal, and my dad said, we're going to fight this, babe, don't worry about it. And I just felt this nudge in my heart to just surrender. And, as Indigenous people, you can just imagine how hard it was for our people to surrender if you had those altercations with the U.S. government. For us, the flight of 1877 was a big part of our history and a big turn. Whether some people think it was for good, it was for worse. The thing is that we're still here. And I realized, how hard it was probably for our ancestors to make these choices to surrender, which ultimately probably was the best choice for that time. And so that's what I did. I completely surrendered and said, what? I looked my dad dead in the eye and I said, I'm done fighting. And I was acquitted on charges for methamphetamine, for cocaine, and it wasn't just a little bit here and there. There were multiple charges for multiple drops and occasions. And so it was something that I was very scared to admit, but something that I knew I had to do. But when I saw all the folks that were rooting for me still, even after knowing that I had a problem and that I was heading down the right path, I decided to change my life, and I went to prison I was sentenced 3 years in prison. And
Where did you go? Where did they send you to first?
So first I went over to Victorville, California. And then from California, I don't know how this happened, but I was able to get into the RDAP program, a residential drug treatment program. And it was a cognitive behavioral health therapy approach. And it completely helped me change the way that I thought. I was able to see the truth. But anyways, and so I got into this program, and the full time I was there, the girls at Victorville were like, girl, you ain't getting in. You need to get in the back. Like, you ain't going nowhere. We've been on the wait list for a hot minute. We've already been in for this long. And I'm thinking, what? I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep trying. And there was a sister. She was my counselor, a black lady. And every day I would go to her door. I would knock on her door. Let's look through my discovery. I know there's a way that I can get into this program. I need this program, And at that time, I wanted the time off, not really seeing the full destiny that I had over my life. But,
You're just trying to shave some months off, right?
Oh, I was trying to get anything that I can to go home.
Here,
And so I kept knocking on her door. And finally she's like, child, what do you want? And I said, please, you have to help me. And so we looked through my discovery, and I was honest with some of the things that, just about, I told you guys, with my childhood, things that I've experienced, things like that. And so me tying myself to kind of that fast-paced life, I was able to say, okay, you do fall under the criteria to be in this program. Anyways, her and I remember I got in trouble because she came to me on the yard, and she said, Green, come here. And she told me, I don't know how, but we got you in and you've been approved. You're packing your bags and you're leaving in 2 days. And I remember I got in trouble because I dropped everything that we had and I gave her a hug. And you're not supposed to hug or touch any officers or anybody. And she's like, you're not supposed to hug me, but it's okay. And she started crying like it was a big, like a divine moment for both of us. And so it was just cool being able to experience that with another woman, another person who saw something in me that was different from other people. And so I was able to pack up 2 days later, and I was probably there for about a month and a half in California. But the girls were like, who in the hell is this bitch? Where is she from? I want that spirit. Whatever she has on her, I want that in me. But that same spirit of hope and desire is something that does live in all of us. And I do want you to just keep trying to pull it out, even, in the darkest times. As I'm looking at some of these paintings from our tribal artists and our people, we've gone through some extremely tireless measures. And, during those times, it was the spirit that we were able to pull out of us, whether it was, forced, in exile. I mean, I went to prison. These people went to prison. Although I was guilty, without any jury or trial or anything, our people were placed off our homelands, and just there was a lot of just traumas that we dealt with. But but we're here, and I just think about them being in exile, not even having anything to hold on to. What was it? And that's where our songs came to me, like the flag song. That one, our Nez Perce flag song, that one is a song that you have to be able to hear, and you can feel that as our drummers sing it. But our flag song came to me. I started going sweat. I then went down to Arizona.
Yeah, what was that like, man? You sat most of it down there?
So this is what I got to be really careful about, is because I never want to glorify prison.
Nah.
But for me, it was different. It was like I saw the flowers growing in the cracks. I saw the sunsets, because I started to just awaken my ideals and my thoughts, and my vision was like 2020. I could see so clearly. It was beautiful, but there was a lot of work that I had to do internally before I was able to completely move into another direction. There was a lot of things that I had to work through with my childhood. With my young adulthood, just being a young woman, a lot of forgiveness that I needed to do. Mostly I was cool with forgiving other people. It was really hard for me to forgive myself. And I remember there was one assignment my counselor gave me, and she said that I had to write, my top 100 worst things I've ever done. And there's thousands of things that I've done that I'm not proud of. So not only did I have to write down a top 100 of things, I had to share it with 5 people. And I remember, the first time, second time, third person, I would just cry because I'd be, humiliated, just all these just nasty things that I've experienced and been a part of. But, after the 4th person, I got a little bit better. After the 5th person, I don't think I dropped a tear. And so that's why I always think it's so important, too, to share my testimony or my stories, because I just hope that it helps somebody along the way. But not only that, I made a promise when I was in prison. I said that I would always share. I don't care if it's in front of an audience of professional business owners who have no clue about my past, that I would share parts of the story because I knew that it would help somebody. So I do that. Even in the most uncomfortable situations, I still try and share parts of that I feel is appropriate. But yeah, being in prison and sitting that time was tough, but it was extremely necessary for that shift that needed to take place in my life.
No doubt. Yeah, man. That's it. Nobody wants to go to that place, but most people that actually do go to that place don't come out better because of it. Mm-hmm. And there's not too many success stories after the fact. You know what I mean? It's usually you're in the system and then you get out and go right back in. And so that's why I think your story is unique too, because you've been out less than 10 years, right?
Yeah, so it's been four years. I've been home for 4 years.
See, and to make those kind of moves in 4 years that's pretty amazing and awesome. But also just to not get discouraged or distracted, to keep the focus to try and reach those goals and then to achieve them, that's something to be applauded and looked up to. Just by humans in general, but also indigenous people and women too. You know what I mean? And also anybody who's ever been in trouble before. You know what I mean? Because it sucks having to check that box in an interview, or on an application, and then answer that question in an interview. You know what I mean? It feels like you're not going to get the job every single time you check that box and have to tell that story. And so,
well, yeah, even just to piggyback off of that, there's even jobs that as soon as you say you're a felon, they're like, okay, interview's over. It's company policy. We are not allowed to hire you or anybody like you. So you kind of feel like you're in this other category. Already you're in another category. Yeah. And so, that was pretty harsh. I do have a story that I'd like to share about that specifically. So I was in college when I got caught up. I was going to school at LCSE for hospitality management. I ended up getting hemmed up and being sent away, but I communicated very honestly and effectively with all of my instructors, so I was able to finish. And this is crazy. So what they did is we exchanged email addresses, and each week they would send me my workload. And then I ordered my books, so I had to reorder my books and send them to myself in prison. And then I was able to email them all my assignments. So I graduated with my associate's degree in federal prison in Arizona in 2011.
Tight.
And so that was cool in itself. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to take all these classes. I went to Rio Salada. It was what the name was, is online programming for I think anybody really. It wasn't just federal inmates.
Yeah, I saw those commercials online. Rio Salada. Yeah, it's like it is like a coding school or something like that, right?
So yeah, I ended up, of course, loving it. I'm big into education. I absolutely am pro-education. If you want to go into trade, if you want to go into a certain degree, you don't have to if you don't want to. Like any entrepreneur can wake up and say, this is what I'm going to do, and do it. But you do not need to have that roadmap, those goals, and those strategies that we had talked about just a second ago. Those are very important, in that we go back and look at that list and alter. Like, say, for example, owning a tourism company in the midst of a COVID-19 pandemic, we had to pivot, and we had to make some very tough decisions on the route that we were going to take, because let's face it, internationally, nobody's traveling. Domestically, a little bit of the drive market, but then in that case, do I want to put my people at risk? And so there's things with COVID that I agree with, some things that I don't agree with. Whether it's even real or not, I don't want to get into that. But the thing is that, in your lives, whether it's personal or professional, you have to make those pivots, and being in a place where you even know what those are, you have to be honest with yourself. And sometimes, I remember this situation, I'm not going to get into that too, but I remember I was walking down the street on the reservation, and Kane, he's always been real with me. He's always been honest, 100, there's no sugarcoating nothing, right? And he walked by me, and he's like, no, he drove by. I was walking to the post office, and he turned around, and I was like, oh, what's this guy up to? And he pulls up, and he's like, dang, homegirl, you look messed up. And it wasn't those exact words. It was different words. But I was like, man, boy, you need to quit it. I look good. And he's like, no, for real. Like, are you okay? Like, for real, And at that moment, I was thinking, dang, I didn't realize that you could notice that I was into what I was into. But he did. And it was cool. And it was a homie moment where I was like, dang, no one has done that yet. You were the first person to say that. And it made me realize, oh, shoot, you can see it now,
Yeah, and I'm not trying to be a hater either, but you looked different. The shine, the glow wasn't there, yo. You know what I mean? And that was just a comment every time I ran into you. So, I just try to keep it honest.
Yeah, so I appreciated that.
It's cool that you remembered that.
Oh, I remember that. I think of that often, and that's even something I wrote about, during the behavioral therapy is, did other people see signs in you? Because I was able to hide it good, really good at, manipulating myself, my family, my coworkers, my bosses. I mean, nobody would have known unless you knew me to a point where they're like, and comfortable enough and honest enough to say, hey, you look messed up, you need to get some help, or are you okay, let's work through this together. But everyone just kind of turned to eye, or I played it off really well. So I love and respect the honesty that I felt from you.
No doubt. Same, man. It's all good, man. Mad love, Stacia, and respect. And it's good to see you chalking up wins now too, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's another question. Not to interrupt again, but what made you decide on tourism? Like, was that the original plan going to college, or were you like, man, I'm gonna open a hotel? Or
so I'm glad you asked.
Why tourism, and what did it just seem like was it a purely business move, or what? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so I'm glad that you asked. So it kind of does tie into the felony question and experiencing being placed into this category. So when I got out of prison, I was at the halfway house in Coeur d'Alene, and of course, I was thirsty, I was hungry, I was ready to hit the road. I wanted to work, I wanted to make money, I wanted to finish school. I have all these dreams and aspirations. And, one of those dreams was, and that was the time where Davenport Grand was opening up their new hotel. And so everybody was lining up. I mean, down the corners of Spokane, everyone was lined up trying to get into this new, fresh establishment, the hottest place in Spokane, right, as far as hospitality. And so I get through the door, and this is a really weird kind of point where, there was like a 4-tier interview process. So I made it through the first door, and I made it through the second door. And by the second and third, I mean, people are like, even they just look at you and be like, nah, you're not coming through.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
And so if you weren't dressed a certain way or didn't look a certain way, you didn't make it through the first. Okay, so maybe you did have your resume in hand and you did speak well. Maybe you went through the second, and then you started getting into the questions. So every single time I came to that felony question, I would let them know I was convicted for a nonviolent criminal offense. This is where I'm at right now. I've served my time. I'm now here to pay my debt to society. I want to make a difference in our community. And I was very honest about living in the halfway house. I had an ankle monitor on. And anyway, so I end up getting this very high manager position, and it was for banquets and catering, performing and putting together, organizing small events to large weddings, basically catering. And so I got that manager position, the top spot. And so we were sitting, I got my uniform, I got my tags, my name tags. I think we were on our 3rd day of training, and the head HR lady happened to see my ankle monitor because we sat next to each other. I had my high heels on, my black slacks, very professional looking, feeling just confident, happy, excited, and she saw that ankle monitor and she asked me what it was, and I told her, and she told me right then and there on that spot, what position do you have in this company? And I told her the catering and sales manager, the director, and she says, we're not going to be able to hire you for that position. On the spot, told me that because of that ankle monitor. Yeah. And I told her, I said, ma'am, I was very transparent about, my past and where I live right now. I mean, your HR team knows that. They selected me. They handpicked me through this huge process. Yeah. I was trying to plead my case. And she said, the best we can do is we can offer you a serving job. And I looked at her.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're kidding me.
Yeah.
I said, you know what? Here's this name tag. Here's your little jacket. I said, I don't want any of it.
Yeah, man.
And I said, I'm out. And I was devastated because that was a dream job, being in the hospitality industry and graduating and then being at the Davenport Grand. I mean, that was the hot thing. And I was just like, I was devastated. And that was another turning point in, okay, what do I need to do as a young woman to be where I need to be? And I went out and worked for the Coeur d'Alene Casino and Resort. Oh, awesome people. I made some good money over there, developed some really good relationships with, and I work with a lot of them now for large tour groups, motor coach groups. We cross-promote each other in tourism, and it's their actual tribal tourism department. Me, I'm the entrepreneur, so being able to work with another tribe at my capacity as equals is really neat. But yeah, and so all of these things happen for a reason, and then I was able to come home back into Lewiston, Clarkston, and I finished school. I graduated with my bachelor's degree in business administration, and I started working in advertising and promotions. I mean, you come from communications, you know what it's kind of like, and it's a tough grind. It's trying to sell radio and digital advertisements and putting together business plans for people in the marketing aspect, and I was able to accomplish these great things by another person who believed in me, and Talina Layton. Yeah. She was like, I see something in you. I want to give you a shot. And her and Ben Bonfield from Pacific Empire, they're like, hey, we want you on our team. And, I started out in this position and with no clients. And sometimes when you start out in these positions, they'll throw you a couple, 2, 3, 4, Yeah,
some gimmies.
Yeah.
Man. There's a new guy coming in, man.
You can have this last client that nobody wants to mess with, but he's willing to spend money or whatever, right? Yeah. Nothing. And so I'm like, okay, you know what? I can do this. Let me prove a little something. And so, first month sales, second month sales, third month, and it just continued to grow and grow and grow. And, at first 2, 3, 4 years later, I was booking, $50,000 a month in local regional advertising for this company and gaining, 20% commission. And, working with all of these great company owners and sometimes not so great, and just being able to help them be successful for me was a blessing. But I also started seeing, okay, what about that 80% though? let's check out what that's all about. Because I look at that and I'm thinking, okay, 42,000 or 4,000. You know, which one looks better and who's doing the work? Yeah, it's your equipment, but you know, there's just all of these things that you start thinking about. And as a person who is capable, like we all are, every single one of us is, and I can't stress that enough. No matter where you came from, what background you have, or what things you have or haven't experienced. But that's when I realized, okay, there's an opportunity here. So I started market research. Oh, one of my vendors are here.
Oh yeah, no doubt. It's perfect point to take a break. I'm gonna keep the video camera footage rolling, and then I'll just stop on Logic, and we'll open a new session. Your headphones on and tell me if you can hear yourself okay. You check the mic real quick.
Do I need to scoot closer?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Can you hear yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is the second part of Stacia Morfin's interview, Nez Perce Tourism. She has a vendor who just stopped by today to drop off some of her artwork. Her name is Lydia Scahan. You are also a Nez Perce tribal member?
I'm not enrolled Nez Perce, but I have Nez Perce descendancy.
Dope.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just wanted to introduce you. Can you please tell us about what you have going on artwork-wise?
Okay. So as an artist, I do a lot of different mediums. Lately, my focus has definitely been sewing. Since the pandemic, I've been sewing masks nonstop. I try to keep them, you know, at affordable prices so that, because I know everyone needs them right now. So I've mostly been working with masks, but one of the other mediums I love to work with is also quill work.
Yeah, that's dope. That's rare.
Yeah, and I'm really excited because I just recently found a porcupine, so I'm going to have some fresh new quills, get some new colors in for the fall and the rest of the summer. So.
Dope. Yeah. Is there an IG or website link that people can follow your work and try and buy something from you?
Yeah, my Instagram, I'm pretty sure it's just Lydia Scahan McLeod. It might be at L_Scahan McLeod.
Can you please spell it out? Just
Yeah.
so we can, you know, I want people who are listening to the episode
Yeah,
to be able to
for
find
sure.
your work. You know what I mean?
So L_SKAHAN, then MCCLOUD, all lowercase.
Awesome. And when's the quill work? Christmas time, you're gonna have some pieces available?
Yeah,
or something?
definitely. I always have a lot during Christmas time. Usually, you know, we set up for the holiday bazaars and stuff. So this year, not sure if those are going to be happening. So I'll definitely be trying to post more to my Instagram. So I do a lot of my selling is primarily Instagram. So if you go there, I do a lot of custom orders. So if you were to message me, I could work with you on color, size, whatever you want to get done.
Awesome, man. That's super dope. And folks can also find your work down here at Nez Perce Tourism LLC too, right?
Yes, starting today, I do have masks and scrunchies here available at Stacia's beautiful store in downtown Lewiston. And hopefully I'll be getting more work in here as time goes on. And yeah, I'm just excited for her to have this store. It's beautiful. There's lots of good stuff down here.
No doubt. And don't you do some work on the tourism side also, besides just the artwork?
I have performed a couple times with Stacia. My family and I, we do travel. We did travel extensively to powwows all across North America. I dance Northern Traditional as well as my husband.
Nice.
And my
Good
son
gifts.
is a little chicken dancer, but we recently just got him fancy bustles, so
All
he's excited to
right.
bust those out when powwows come back.
Cool, man. Cool.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else you would like to add? Do you want to send folks to any other places or any other messages you want to get out to folks?
Just come on down to Stacia's store. It's beautiful. She has lots of artwork from local artists. And find my Instagram, message me, and we can work something out.
No doubt. Well, thank you for taking the time to come on our show, Lydia. We appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll try and send you the link too once
Okay,
we
cool.
upload the episode.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, and man, thanks, Stacia. More content too. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, those are pretty. I love them. I can't wait to get them out and let folks know. I'm gonna probably start to do maybe a little bit of advertising, take some photos, and start promoting next week. So
Oh,
starting
cool.
Tuesday.
Awesome.
I'll make sure I tag you.
And I see you have a couple hats. So I'll have to get you some hats.
Yeah, do. I just ordered 4 more bands, but they're gonna sell quickly, so I'll do the double rope, the thicker, it doesn't matter. I'll let the artists. Yeah, I want you to do your best work. I don't want to be so like controlling and involved in that process and the design process.
Yeah.
So do what you think is best for. Yeah.
Okay, cool. This is a beautiful hat.
It's 6 7/8, I believe.
Word.
I'll give these to Jordan real quick.
Okay.
Maybe what we'll do is we'll make a sign. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. And then don't forget to email me too, and let me know so I can pay you right away.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that when I get my phone.
We did a photo shoot together too.
Oh,
Lydia,
okay.
her family, and I last year.
Oh, yeah.
She came just recently. She wants to work with you again.
Okay,
Yeah.
is she still in town?
No, she left.
Oh,
Yeah.
she did?
Yeah. But next year we'll set up another shoot.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Okay, so checking back in, part 2, Stacia Morfin interview with Concerned Dads podcast. Shit, I don't remember what was the last thing we were talking about.
We were talking about that shift in the convicted felon.
Oh yeah, man, getting denied jobs because you got an F or an ankle monitor. You
Yep.
know what I mean? Like that shit fucking sucks, man.
You know, especially just as transparent and honest and as hard as I worked for that position, just to be like, from the looks of things, it doesn't seem like you would be a good director or a manager. And you'd be more of a servant
Yeah.
attitude. I'm like,
Yeah.
excuse me? No, you can go ahead and take this little tag. And you
Yeah.
can go ahead and go and good luck finding the best candidate for you because it's not me.
Yeah.
And I just, I was devastated. But, the build up for the relationships that I had after the position that I got after that has way surpassed what I've ever thought that I would experience with another hospitality company. And that's the Coeur d'Alene Tribe, like I'd mentioned before. But yeah, and then I got into sales and I saw the commission and I was at 20% and I said, where the heck is the other 80? I want that 80. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And so what I did is I had this vision. An old Nez Perce elder came to me, a man. And I was with my daughter. I have a 3-year-old. Her name is Kalila, Kamasnim Latis, Camas Lily. Oh, she's everything. She's everything. And her and I went hiking on one of our sacred sites, and I asked. I said, Creator God, I need direction. I felt fine, but I just felt like there was something more that I was called to do. And he told me that I was going to work in cultural preservation, and that I might feel like I'm not fit for it because I wasn't raised in this cultural way per se. But culture and ecological knowledge comes in so many different forms. When I think about like the sweat house, for example, I grew up in that, and so that's just one component of spirituality and culture. And so there's all of these elements that come into play. He said, but you're going to do it. And this is basically what you need to do. And so after I came off that mountain, I went into the Small Business Center here in Lewiston on Main Street. And I was starting to talk about, the SWOT analysis, the strengths, obstacles, weaknesses, threats, all of these things. And as we did the SWOT analysis, I quickly realized that there was an opportunity, and I was thinking nonprofit for cultural preservation. But I saw that there was an opportunity for Nez Perce Tourism, which still is a component of preservation. It's still a component of education. And so I did 2 years of market research, and I was on the ground running. I went to Portland and back to the Pacific Ocean and back all around our region to find out where these guests were coming from, who is visiting our homeland, how much money are they spending, how long are they staying, who are these people, where are they coming from. So I literally did 2 years of intense market research, and it wasn't, oh yeah, I'm going to look some things on the internet and hope something pops up. No, I got into these deep tourism databases with the state and with Montana and with Washington and Oregon, and I met with the chambers and all of these things, and I just put some real hard work and time into it. And I realized that we have a huge market here for the river cruise boats. And so from March to November, there's already 30,000 people coming here to our region who are staying here for at least 3 nights.
Yeah.
So we have, the American Cruise Line, all of these multi-billion-dollar companies who are bringing people here for that authentic experience, whether it's with the Lewis and Clark journey or whether it's Hell's Canyon. Hell's Canyon is in our backyard, and that is the deepest river gorge in North America. I mean, deeper than the Grand Canyon. And so there's a lot of people and companies here who play off of the history of this area. And like I said, there wasn't anybody tribally owned or tribal member who was taking advantage of that. And so I said, this is what people want. This is the opportunity. This is what I'm going to do. And so I originally didn't have even sometimes you have an idea, start thinking it out, and even just open thinking concept. Don't prioritize and make sure that everything's structured just right. Just think and write things down, whether it's on a scrap piece of paper or whatnot.
Yeah,
and
write it down, man.
Yeah, write it down and start thinking about it and replacing it and asking people questions, people that you trust. I'm not going to say go tell everybody your grand plans first thing, because I didn't. I was very discreet about what I was going to do, because I didn't want anybody to go for me and try to ruin that destiny that I had over my life.
Dude, yeah, I've told this to people too, that I try to show the script to. It's like, I don't want to send it to anybody if they're not going to be a part of the project, because I'm not trying to accuse anybody of being a hater, but showing someone what you're shooting for allows them to have some sort of influence energy-wise over the outcome. And so keeping
it
that
is,
to yourself
and
is very
that
important,
energy and that spirit's alive, and whether it's for good or for bad, people will use that in good and negative ways. And so I was just, I was very responsible about how I went about opening my company. And, I didn't do anything without that good feeling in my body and my heart. If I was going into a direction that I felt was disrespecting my ancestors, my culture, either myself would feel it, or my family would tell me, or, the circle of elders would, say, that's something I want you to reconsider. So I have lots of mentors all across Nimiipuu country. I mean, our landscape is huge, 19 million original acres of homeland and multiple states in Canada and California and all these places. That's home to us. And so we have people dispersed all throughout these places that hold such great knowledge and information, and then they're willing to share. Some of the things, one of my biggest tools for Nez Perce Tourism, I think, was doing that SWOT analysis, creating my business model canvas, of course, but also working with, what was I going to say? Doing a internal assessment. So I did this assessment for and with my people that was consisted of 4 categories, and the 4 categories was of knowledge that we should share and could share, and it's respectful to share. So we had, sacred was one, secret, commonly known, and widely shared. So it was like a survey that we had different topics, whether it was, sacred, first foods, medicines, our sweat lodges, things like that, those places of prayer, those are sacred to us. So those are things that, for me, we are going to stay away from. We don't want to exploit. We don't want to share those things with, visiting non-tribal guests.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in certain cases, you might feel inclined to share with an individual, but to sell that.
Yeah, and to promote that experience.
Yeah.
And so
it's
I mean, those assessments, and it did something too. One of my biggest threats was the community buy-in that I was gonna hope to have, and I was very honest with myself about that, because you think about the past and how the non-tribal influence played on our lives. There's a lot of mistrust.
Yeah.
And we're not going to say, hey, come see us and come check us out and come buy our land while we're trying to buy our land back, with the tribe.
Yeah.
We had general council in May, and we own 16% of our 1863 treaty, which is, we 750,000 acres, 16% of that is what we own now. So we're slowly buying land back, which is great, but I don't want to provide more opportunities for more people with more money to come here and buy our land. But we do want to promote our history and our culture, the truth of that. And so I do see, how some people are like, we're good on tourism. There's other, revenue streams that we could tap into besides, inviting more folks to our homeland. But there is that educational piece and that healing component too for our own people that is working. Like for me, a lot of that healing took place, when I was in prison, and a lot of it took place traditionally when I was home doing this work, being on the ground and being with my elders. The best part of the work that I do is not taking a pen, paper, phone, recording anything. It's just authentically sitting with my people and talking about stories and our history and legends and the lessons that those legends hold. It's really neat because like there's stories that you probably heard that I've never heard because you're a boy, you're a man, as a young boy, and they're meant only for young boys. And same with me, I probably heard stories and lessons that only young girls are supposed to hear. So it's just so beautiful that we have, things that are meant for certain people, certain places, certain times. I mean, our whole life revolves around the seasonal realms, and we try to stay with those concepts.
Yeah, songs for everything too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's, I don't know. My boy's like 8, and that's the thing I've been trying to work with him on, is trying to make a song. And you can make it about whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You can make it about eating cereal in the morning or whatever. But it's, we had songs for, this one's for the morning. This one's for when we're gonna go pick berries. This one's for where we're gonna doctor our horse up, make him look pretty. You know what I mean? Like, but paint him up before we go and raid this other spot real quick. So I think it's dope musically too. You know what I mean? Our
Mm-hmm.
culture. There's always a song.
Mm-hmm.
For every situation.
And you can feel those songs too, whether it's through the drum, whether it's a cappella, whether it's through a rap, whether it's through making beats. It doesn't matter what it is. We have this connection with our spirit, like I said, in the atmosphere, and you can project this feeling onto other people. Whether they want to accept it or not, that's on them. But it's up to you to project that, and we all have that responsibility. Like your boy, I'm excited to see. See.
Yeah, I like him, man. A good story about him. Like, I'm not with his mom anymore. Sometimes things don't work out. But there was a time where she brought him up to, they go and dig camas up there, and then, they cook it in the ground and all that. They make like a whole week trip out of it.
I love it.
And they had some kind of, like a dinner at the church up there. And, they have a PA and a microphone, and adults are getting up there and singing their songs. Some kids get up there and sing their church songs, kind of like Christmas at Spalding or something like that. And I wasn't there. My boy was there with his mom, and she said that nobody told him to. He ran up there to the microphone and he grabbed the mic and he counted to 10 in Nez Perce. Oh. And then, you know what I mean? And that was it. Everybody clapped and cheered, and then he went and sat back down again. I was just like, man. And like, his mom told me, she was like, most of the adults were like, yo, I can't even do that. And she's like, everybody was looking at me, and I said, I can't do that. Like, you know what I mean? John taught him that. Like, so it feels good to me to know that some things that because it's repetitious. It's like we'd be in the car, you know what I mean? I pick him up for the weekend. It's like on the way home, we're going to count to 10 in English, Spanish, and Nez Perce.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes,
it's
I love
cool
it.
that he saw a situation to share that with his family, who are also of our culture, and it had a good impact. You know what I mean?
And it does, and that connection we have with our language, it's a direct connection to our ancestors, and that's very powerful.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Tutlow too, man, because that's I work with him on our band also, but I try to volunteer for anything that guy has going on too. There was times where I'd come back from Portland and I'd want to hang out with him, and he's like, I got to go to Orfino to do a class. And I'd be like, I'll go. So jump on, go to Orfino, and meet some of those Indians, and, read the little lesson and the story and everything. So I like that language stuff too. I think it really is important. And me being enthusiastic about it rubs off on other people, I think.
It does.
Because in high school, we had, like, my sophomore year is when they first offered it, and I took it every single year. You know what I mean? And there was a lot of other skinned kids in my class that I would encourage them, like, man, sign up for Nez Perce Language 7th hour. And they'd be like, man, I'm trying to take weight training, or I'm trying to take something easy. And I'm like, dude, this isn't hard. You know what I mean? Like, I know your grandma talked to you when you were little. You know what I mean? Like, I know that. Like, you can learn some of those words and how to write them. And it was a tough sell back then. But, you know, nowadays, there's a lot of people active and promoting it and making it look cool, and I think that is awesome. So
along with our revitalization efforts in language, we also have a big responsibility to our Nasoch, our salmon, and the tribe does great work. In certain areas that I would like to bring up. Of course, those two were some of them. But yeah, that important, established relationship with our language and our fish species, our nasoch, our salmon, is extremely important to us as a lifeway, as our lifestyle for Nimipu, but and also for our future generations. And so it's great that we can work together in this capacity, but I'm so thankful, people like you and our kids. Sometimes kids don't have access to the language unless you go to school in Lapway or with the early childhood programs. But now, Tutlo's helping everybody have access to it through a mobile app and putting out packets online. And I mean, we use those, my whole family.
So it is a good resource. And that was the main thing I tried to drill it into my boy's head when he was a baby, because I knew he wasn't going to grow up out there, you know what I mean? So it's like, you need to have this in your brain and your heart, so it is. It's
and I just watched a video that Tetlow was on, and he was speaking about our language and how we're at such a critical hour with our language and our elders. And since that video was created, he was with one of his mentors, and since then, today that mentor has passed, and so he's not lying. We are at a critical hour, and even just knowing a few words, is a really good start. But
it is. It is. Like, I like just hanging out with that guy in general, because he'll initially greet me and talk for like 2 minutes. And I'll sit there and I can pick out certain parts, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, fuck, I don't know what that word is. And then he'll explain to me afterwards. And it's cool to have family like that will take the time to teach you. But I also think it's dope when people show the initiative to go and look up the information on the app, or like when folks buy the dictionary even too, you know what I mean? Because that's a super duper big book, man.
It's a pretty hefty investment,
yeah, you know what I mean? But when folks do that, it shows that they're
committed, at least interested.
It means something. Yeah, I'm gonna drop $250 on this because I want to know when that question arises. I'm gonna go and look for it.
Yeah, one of the things I want to mention too, my sister Sierra Green. Oh, she's an amazing scientist.
Shout out to C.
Yeah, she's my everything too.
I like her too. She's dope.
Yeah, she's a very smart, intellectual person that never makes you feel like you're not smart too. I mean, she's like on the next level type, supernova stuff, Yeah, and I'm really business savvy, and when she gets into science and engineering and math and chemistry, and she makes me feel like I'm capable. And I really respect that with her. But yeah, her and I were working on a project together. We would like to start scholarship funds for our Nez Perce kids or descendants. My daughter, Kalila Camus Lily, she is not enrolled. She's just a hair shy of being an enrolled Nez Perce tribal member. And so, the blood quantum topic comes up, whether people are for it or against it. But, it's something that we need to look at as a tribe, because eventually we're going to be right where the government wants us to be, in that it's diminished, just in a few generations from now. So I think it's important work that we have to do, but we would like to start a scholarship fund. One of them is to provide that Nez Perce language book and, scholarship money. I mean, we both have gone to college. We know what that's like.
Yeah.
And, whether you excel in school and you got grants, there's still things that come up, life comes up, and you have to have that extra income. And she has her master's, I have my bachelor's, but we've been there and we've faced these challenges no matter what school you go to. But we want to be able to help our kids, be equipped, financially, but also we want them to gain the life skills that they need to be responsible young adults. Yeah. But that book is really important, and we want to incorporate that with our scholarship too.
That's tight, man. I agree. Like, it's part of our identity is our language, and that's of the utmost importance to teach our children. You know what I mean?
And that's a lot of the work that Nez Perce Tourism does. It's all about, preserving culture for future generations. And like I was saying earlier, the best work that I enjoy the most is sitting with my elders and just visiting with them and laughing and them correcting me because I don't ever say my Indian name right. It's Kusnim Kesk Nuat. Kusnim Kesk Nuat. So there's a lot of glottals inside that.
Yeah.
And it's, one who takes care of water, as Kane introduced me as. But, those names, they're more than just a name. It's where the family you come from. I come from Chief Pile of Clouds on my grandmother's side, and he was responsible for the Snake River to Alpalway, to Palutzpu area, and that's Moscow Pullman down to here, the river systems.
That's a big ass neighborhood, yo.
Yeah. And so on my grandfather's side, on my dad's side, I come from Peo Ilp Ilp. That's Redbird. So Redbird Canyon is up the Snake River also, but it goes all the way down to Bergdorf, one of our fishing sites, and we had a lot of disruptions with those sites because of the show band. That was one of our enemy tribes at one point. But, we're trying to learn to get along with our fishing and our revitalization programs. But, historically, there have been oral histories that I've learned about that we've had. The show band were very, very smart, of course, indigenous people. They knew the landscape, but they were very sneaky in the sense that when the Nez Perce would go down to our fishing sites, they would hide underneath the sand. And they could hide themselves so well. So we acquired the horse in the 17th century. And so after that, even our horses couldn't sense them. But Chief Pile of Clouds, Redbird, it's these chiefs that have these spiritual connections with our nature, they could feel that something wasn't wrong. And so there was multiple occasions where the leadership and our bands would be able to retreat because they knew that danger was ahead of them. But those are the people that we come from. And it's not just the men, the women had a great responsibility for everything too. And so knowing that we come from these strong, very resilient, smart, creative people, it just helps me instill that into our children.
No doubt.
So that preservation for future generations. And I want people to be proud. I didn't always grow up to be proud of who I was. And I think that's where a lot of times I was lost in identity and didn't know which way to go. Am I white? Am I native? But am I though? Am I native though?
Yeah.
So it's like
you grew up in Lewiston too, right? So there is a little bit of
it was the Lewiston Lapway girl. I didn't really know. I felt okay, but there was just a lot of critical ages too. As a younger girl, 11 to 16. I mean, those are some pretty rough years for some people.
Yeah, man. Yeah. We're getting close to an hour right now. It's been a dope interview so far. I just wanted to ask one time, can you talk for 2 minutes about the services that you offer for tourism? Just simple packages, even if they're not available right now because of COVID, but some of the things that you've done in the past as far as trips and destinations.
Yeah, so our most popular tour is, check us out, www.nezpercetourism.com. Everything is very easy to access. Everything is Nez Perce Tourism, NEZPERCE Tourism. There's the website, there's Instagram, there's Facebook. You can find all of our information and our services online on any of those platforms. But our most popular is probably the jet boat. It's Hear the Echoes of Our Ancestors jet boat tour. And it's a 3-hour tour from the confluence of Seminicum.
3-hour tour.
And it's perfect. It's
That's
not
dope,
too long,
no
where people
Gilligan.
are tired, and they're some of our demographics a little bit older in age, higher income levels, very intellectual, smart people, but have never heard this perspective. And so you can read all the books you want, but until you hear it from a person from that area, from who they heard it from thousands of accumulated knowledge from their elders passed down, it hits different, And so not only the presenting, but there is an entertainment piece to tourism. We can have our most knowledgeable elders get up and speak in a group setting of hundreds of people, but if you can't communicate that in a way that's effective, that people can relate to, that's, you know, not entertainment to where it's you know, over the top, but you have to be able to entertain people.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be able to connect with people on a level that, whether it's online webinars or whether it's in person, you know, you can feel it. So yeah, we have that tour, and then, you know, we have our regalia on. Lydia is one of my performers. She's a model also, but last year I worked with 55 different cultural consultants, whether it was, you know, drummers, singers, dancers, performers, presenters, and so that was cool. So Nez Perce Tourism is helping people earn income through what they know and do best.
Yeah.
You know, and
I
it's
think
all
that's-
authentic. We don't try and dress anybody up that doesn't live that lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know, so it's real. It's the real deal.
Yeah, man, I like that too. Help, because man, being an artist is difficult to get your work out there and have it seen and heard and consumed, and it's dope that you're helping out with that too.
Yeah, and
You know,
I always want to make sure that we promote them. You know, it's not about me. It's about them and their family, where they come from, and the legacy they're leaving.
Yeah, man.
And so I think it's inspiring a lot of people just to feel more proud and to have that confidence to get up and even say your name in Nez Perce and tell us what family you come from. You know, like we've been taught growing up.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, I'm from No,
Yeah.
you do it and you say it right and you say it again. And that's what I love about our elders is, even in public, you know, one of our cultural values is discipline. And in public, if somebody says something that isn't, you know, accurate, or a Nez Perce word wrong or whatever, our elders will come up and let you know.
Yeah.
You know, and I respect that. And it's not because they're trying to diminish your spirit or what you're doing. It's because they care about you and they want you to do it right.
Yeah,
and I love that about our people. I mean, you know, there's pros and cons, but like I said, you know, not everybody buys into tourism, but we do also offer whitewater rafting on the Salmon River. You know, of course, with the Nez Perce narrative. I mean, around every river bend, there's a story, there's a legend, there's a village. And, you know, there's things that we do and don't share depending on who the audience is.
Yeah.
But we do a lot of educational work with our youth, and from 3 months old to, you know, college age to elders. We took a tour with the Pinkham family right before their oldest living World War II veteran and oldest living tribal member passed away. He went with us with his whole family up the Snake River, and he'd never been up there.
That's dope, man.
And it's just so beautiful being able to tie our people to our homeland. You know, accessing areas that they can't travel to in a car.
Yeah, man, that Wapshila Ranch and all that stuff too, man. I went on a raft trip down the Snake one time. It was pretty dope seeing all that and all the petroglyphs and everything too. Like, it is. It's an experience. It's entertaining. And then, dude, I just think I want to go sometime because, man, it's like, nah, man, it's Indians selling it this time. You know what I mean? Like,
and we jam out. I mean, we bring our hand drums, our drums, we bring our regalia, and it's not like, you know, a couple little verses here and there. Like, we get down, you know, and it feels good to my soul, and I feel like I'm doing really good work, and I'm not gonna stop.
No doubt.
You know, there's
Keep
nothing
pushing.
that is going to stop me. No COVID, whether it's real or not, no person, no pissed off tribal member, no matter what it is, I'm still going to be able to jump over that roadblock and keep moving forward. And that's something that our ancestors taught us.
I love
you know?
that attitude too, Stacia.
But yeah, we also offer, you know, dinner with the Nez Perces. We do customized tours, horseback riding. I work with some local organizations in Lapway, the Chief Joseph Foundation, and My Sweet Appaloosa. I mean, the horse work is extremely intense. You know, people are stubborn, but just imagine working with a 2,000-pound horse, and being able to work with them and establish those talents and those skills that they need to have riders. But there's so many neat things that we offer. But you know, tourism isn't new. This is not something that I started. It's something that I had in me already, and I just helped it blossom into a business model. But yeah, we established in 2018, and we're growing and growing and growing. This year, I had 3 agreements with the American Cruise Lines, and that's huge. So I did a lot of, you know, research and work for the past year and a half, and I was able to get 3 agreements, which equals out to a lot of revenue for my people.
Yeah.
Because I can't do it alone. You know, I need you. I need my people to make this successful. So.
No doubt.
Yeah, we're going to continue growing, but check us out. We'll be promoting Nez Perce Traditions as well. It's our gift shop in Newberry Square. So if you're, like I said, if you're an artist, if you just need some gift ideas, some items, some baby shower gifts, anything, we'll have it. So.
No doubt. Oh, one more question before we go. You can answer as quick as you can or as slow as it doesn't matter. But I forget to ask this every time, and you kind of to a certain extent have, but I still gotta ask it. It's a 2-sided question. First side is the good side. what do you feel has been your best move on the path to where you're at right now?
Ooh, oh, okay. So
And even if it's not just one thing, maybe it's a certain behavior.
it's one thing.
Okay.
It's one thing. It is being able to kind of step outside of myself and look in the mirror and truly and honestly say, I love you.
Dope.
If you can do that and you can look in the mirror, you can do anything.
Dope.
Because you have to be able to believe in yourself. And for a lot of people, it's hard, but you know, if I could do it, and I'm getting emotional because that moment was just everything, and I was in prison, and I needed that, and I did it. But you know what was beautiful was all those things that happened in the past, I was able to forgive and forget immediately. It was that moment. And completely and mercifully, and not feel any type of way about it. It was that moment that I did that in my life that I was able to propel myself to where I'm at now.
Dope. Good answer. Damn, man. Now this is the shitty side of the question. You know what I mean? What do you feel has been your biggest mistake? Your biggest fuck up?
Oof, jeez.
You know what I mean? Because it's fun to talk about the wins, but the L's are relevant, you know?
I'm such an optimist too. I can turn any negative into positive. The biggest, jeez.
And make biggest letdown, whatever, you know what I mean? I dig that it's hard for you to answer that side of the coin, you know what I mean? Because it is. It means your attitude is really positive.
I think my biggest regret is not doing what I just said earlier. Yeah. And not realizing who I was at a younger age. I think that we're going to keep making strides, you know, that's for sure. But also, I just want to make sure, too, that I can reach as many people as I can in the same situation that's feeling, you know, kind of lost or, you know, not feeling like they fit. It's in you. And I can't stress that enough, that who you are is in you. So you have to dig for it. But nobody can do it for you. You have to do it for yourself.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Good advice. Well, man, thank you for coming on the show, Stacia. Is there anything? It's Nez Perce Tourism, LLC, across all social media.
Yep.
And is it .com or .org?
.com.
.com. If you guys want to hit it up, look for a tour, or come down to Newberry Square, buy some artwork. Yeah, I really appreciate you taking the time to schedule with me and then let me come in here and
oh my goodness, it's a huge blessing. I feel so good about it. So thank you again for what you do and the work that you do. It's very important. Keep at it.
No doubt. I'm not gonna stop either. We're gonna keep doing shows, Stacia, and keep making music. So thank you, man. It's inspiring to hear your story too. I hope it inspires other people when they listen to the episode.
Yeah, and then if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns about anything, please reach out, whether it's business related, you know, past related, obstacles, it doesn't matter. I'll be there for you. So hit me up. Even my email is nezpercetourism@gmail.com.
Okay.
So yep, I'm here for you too. So, and I believe in you guys. So keep at it, people.
All right. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to do my outro dance. This was the 73rd episode of Concerned Dabs Podcast. I was your host, Katie M. Kane. My guest tonight, Stacia Morfin from Nez Perce Tourism, LLC. Please hit her up online. It extends everywhere, even the Gmail. I also got to give a shout out to my guys in production, Mitchell Wilson and Jesse Curry. This has been a Main Node and Joseph Street Enterprise production.
That was good.